Hello, what is up ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Mecha here, and I am back for some more yet again for the likes of the Mecha Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Mario Kart Arcade GP2 for the arcade machines, or to be more specifically, I'm running this on the Wii on the homebrew emulator. So yeah, last time we basically managed to accomplish the forms of the Pac-Man Cup by simply selecting Pac-Man himself. And today, for this particular day, and that is the fact that we're going to be moving on to the next cup in the game, which appears to be the Bowser Cup. So, and for this particular character choice, I think, suffice to say, I'm going to be up for the challenge by going through for advanced player character. That's what appears to be Bowser himself. Because the only reason being for this is because, well, oh yeah, there was also that secondary card I could normally use, but I think I should probably stick with the standard cards, so I think I might as well do that. So, anyway, so let's just go ahead and get started with the forms of, as I said before, the Bowser Cup, until whenever we accomplish that, then we should be able to actually access to the final cup in the game, which appears to be, of course, the Rainbow Cup. So, anyway, so let's get to it with the Bowser's Castle track, and before we get onto that, we need to pick one of those three whatever items we want to go for. So, for this particular first track we're going to be using is the Banana Peel, along with the Tornado and the Shield, because as far as I'm aware, these are one of those tracks that are considerably quite difficult. Well, it wasn't until whenever we get into round 3 and 4 that it will consider to be quite difficult and tricky. So, yeah, let's hop right into this in Bowser's Castle. So, yeah, I can't believe that we actually almost done with this game. So, because of that, though, yeah, let's get into it. And I can't believe why I'm saying this, that I'm actually very kind of scarce when it comes to using the advanced player characters, like, for instance, Bowser, that, as you can tell, that it's not as easy to control the actual, like, heavy type characters sometimes, mainly for, like, Wario, Donkey Kong, and Bowser, because those are the only ones are considerably to be the heavy type ones. So, but as a result though, it might take a while to get used to, especially noticeable with the actual drifting and what have you, as well as the handling and stuff like that, but I'm sure we'll get the gist of it. So, anyway, a few things I want to explain for this point today, and that is the fact that today's day is of course the 18th of December today, in this case in 2021 today, and naturally we've got about a week left until specifically Christmas. So yeah, let me know in the comments below for the question of the day. Are you guys really looking forward to this year's Christmas? Especially noticeable about the fact that we naturally only got about a week left until that's been coming. So yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to it as well. So because of that though, and also to top it all off, that I don't suppose that I believe some toy sales hasn't mentioned about from the likes of the forms of well, Nights into Dreams redo Let's Play. That is the fact that recently the My Little Pony Friendship is Magic episode, Swarm of the Century, you know, with the ones that evolves around the forms of well, I won't classify for saying the forms of Parasprites, if I recall correctly what these creatures are called. And basically, that episode in particular is now 11 years old. Like, jeez Louise, man. It's been 11 years since that episode has been released. So, yeah, man, time flies. And until about that time, until specifically in Christmas Eve, that winter wrap-up episode will be also 11 years old. So, I suppose I should probably mention about the forms of the recap of certain episodes in Season 2 that's now currently, well, a decade old, which we already mentioned about the forms of, well, the Return of Harmony is now a decade old, and same applies to Part 2, and Lesson 0 was now a decade old, and especially noticeable with Luna Eclipsed, and Sister Hoof's Social, and also the Cutie Parks May the Best Pet Win. The least favorite, or in this case, the worst episode in Season 2, The Mysterious May Do Well, which I've no idea why that most people seem to despise this episode so much. Well, I found it okay, but not the best, so... And also we got Sweet and Elite, so... Yeah, yeah, that might be something worth knowing for. And Secret of My Exists. So, and I think, fundamentally speaking, that also yesterday, that the Heartswarming Eve episode has recently now becoming a decade old. So, yeah, until about that time, until specifically in next year in 2022, this is where we're able to get into ourselves the forms of the latest, well, Season 2 episodes will be well, a decade old, until specifically that, I believe the next episode in Season 2 I'm going to mention is, Family Appreciation Day. I think that's what the episode is called anyway. And basically, that's, well, until the 7th of January in, that particular episode in mind, that will be officially be a decade old. So, yeah. That seems quite scary, don't you think about it? But anyway, enough about that distractions, and yeah, let's move on to the next track, which appears to be Castle Wall. So, it's just Bowser Castle track, except the fact that we're going the alternative way, so nothing different from there. Although until when it gets to the point until round 3 and 4, that it might actually spice things up a bit by making the actual track a lot difficult, mainly due to the fact that they're able to bring in Kamek to the table, and then you're able to actually cast spells during the actual track itself. So yeah, that might be described about the forms of, well, it's hard to explain because it's been about a week ago since I've actually last touched upon this, especially noticeable after the events of well, let's just say that, for example, that I've managed to able to finally finishing up the forms of the Let's Play of Mario vs. Donkey Kong for the Game Boy Advance recently, as you probably guys can clearly tell already. So as a result, though, that I think that, well, we now moved on to the forms of the next redo Let's Play, which appears to be by the forms of Night into Dreams. Well, to be more specifically, we play it on the Xbox Live Arcade version, just because it makes it a little bit more of a better quality and stuff like that. And hopefully that particular Let's Play will be much better than the forms of how it does it back in 2016. Because in 2016, though, quality itself is pretty average, especially noticeable that was on the PlayStation 3. But ultimately, though, the commentary and the sound mixing is pretty terrible. So because of that, though, thankfully, though, we did manage to able to sort that out. So, and also about the fact that recently we managed able to done some more video game collection videos recently. That's the forms of the updated versions of the GameCube collection and as well as the Wii collection video to make things a bit more finalized in comparison to the forms of the outdated ones from the likes of 2017 and I think it's pretty much 2017 basically where it comes to more accurately the outdated versions of those particular collection videos by that point. Especially noticeable that it's a good thing we actually did done those redo collections like this in the first place for the sake of not only just trying to able to build up the final update for the sake of the forms of our game collection series, but also that, well, for the celebration of their consoles' anniversaries respectively. So, yeah, that's usually as far from the case. So, anyway, so let's go ahead and, you know, concentrate, just trying to do some careful drifting here and there, just in case we don't easily bump into anything else, specifically the walls and stuff like that. But regardless of anything else, though, it's just the fact that, well, feels like we're pretty much way up ahead compared to the other players. But again, I would have appreciated about the fact that we could able to go up for the challenge by going through, you know, 150cc class, but it's just the fact that if I was gonna able to try and play as Bowser on this this particular cup itself, that will make things a lot harder for us. So there we go. That pretty much concludes Castle Wall, and well, of course, we only got the halfway points out of the way for the sake of the forms of the entire cup so far, until we basically move on to the challenge time, of course, and before we get into the forms of the final cup in the game. So, anyways, let's see what Mario coins that we actually got so far. I think we've got about, in grand total of 34 on that particular race, and we got about 1,005 coins, and we got ourselves our new secondary cart for the sake of, for Pac-Man. So, who knows? Although, despite the fact that we've already selected him ever since in, well, last Sunday and stuff like that. So, anyways, let's continue and head back onto the Forms of Bowser's Castle track again. And we're pretty much gonna go for the, different items here and there. So let's go for tag, and, I suppose we should probably equip, no matter what though, we should probably go ahead and equip, the Starman, just in case, for the sake of invincibility here and there. And I suppose we should probably be able to equip the, no matter what though, let's go for a magnet. Just in case I can able to show you guys what that item does. So, anyway, so let's get back into Bowser's Castle, but the biggest difference is now, they obviously managed to include Kamek to able to cast a magic spell to able to actually just to block certain portions of the track. So, but that wasn't until whenever we get into later on though. So, yeah, let's get into this. So once again, we have to go for 4 laps. So, yeah, to make things a little bit more obvious. But until when it gets to the point until on the final cup in the game, which is of course the Rainbow Cup, that basically that we would be able to go into just 2 laps to make things a little bit, well, shorter for us. Just like in Forms of Power it does it on Yoshi Park 2 for that particular track. So I might as well able to actually just admire it for that. So yeah, I think what this magnet can do is the fact that it allows you to able to actually just to instantly manage to able to grab not only regular coins, but also Mario coins as well. So that will be very recommendable, especially noticeable if you try to able to desperately want to able to get some more unlockables for certain like cards for certain characters, as well as certain items for certain characters, and especially noticeable with the photo frame, even though despite it's kind of pointless on the emulator because, well, as I already mentioned this before, ever since, and not only in this game, but along with the Forms of Mario Kart Arcade GP1, that basically though we don't have any the webcam feature to able to actually take pictures of. So unlike the regular arcade cabinets, which it might be seem to be pretty hard to find right now for the English version, because as far as we guys should probably already know, that the arcade GP DX is already existent. So as a result though, that might be something worth classifying for noticing this. So, oh jeez, Luigi. Hey, oh well, we'll just keep on going, especially noticeable that, well, despite the fact that we didn't seem able to actually just to do, well, I don't know what I usually say for this point right now, because I know it has been, you know, a few days since I actually last touched this, so, alright, on to the final lap as we go, and place those tags, so just in case if someone else managed to get, you know, get hurt by those tags and stuff, but seems like so far that I think everyone else seems to manage to dodge that no problem, so, but anyway. Seems like I'm actually get the hang of this, especially noticeable that unlike in, well, in Mario Kart Arcade GP1, that, well, unfortunately you have to stuck with just only one character throughout the whole run, whilst in here, I'm very glad that I'm still going to be able to pick some different characters every time you finish the cup and stuff like that, which is always swell. Alright, so now we're done with that, and we've actually unlocked this next, item, which appears to be, I think it's usually the invincible mushroom or something. Well, usually I couldn't really tell with the actual text writing here and there, so, but anyways, let's see what Mario coins I've got. I don't think I actually got enough to able to actually unlock something new, so, in this case though, oh I do. Okay, so we got ourselves the Captain Pirate, photo frame, so, okay, I'm up for it. So I believe we've only got one more round left until we moved on to the next challenge game, which is of course, the Bowser fight. But talking of which though actually, I'll talk more about it until whenever we get into the forms of, well, whenever we get into the challenge game. So anyway, so let's go ahead and move on back onto Castle Wall again, and we'll go for Pie, and I suppose we should probably also equip the, why not? Just a Starman again, just for the sake of frustration, and a black shell to able to actually act out as like a bombshell, basically. So, anyways, without further ado, let's get into Castle Wall. Okay, if those of you do not know already, that's the reason why it took so long to actually just to get the actual race going. This is my third attempt by able to do this race because, well, for those of you probably wondering that I did say about the fact that not every single portions of the game can work perfectly though, like 100% perfect by any means. Because like I said before, there are a few times that my game actually crashes. So as a result, that yes, one of those tracks in particular, Castle Wall Round 4, which is essentially by the forms of just the much more of a harder version of the regular Castle Wall track, that now actually incorporates the Kamek's magic spell if you somehow go up ahead. So yeah, you probably get the idea about that. So yeah, I think for the first crash I stumbled across is the fact that I was doing so well for the actual track itself actually. Now as a result though, what really happens is the fact that assuming if I manage to make your way to the finish line after the forms of the final lap in the track, my game crashed. And the second crash that involves the round in is that before I start the race. So, yeah, that's like, I think so far I've stumbled across 3 crashes in a row for the sake of this Let's Play so far. But it doesn't really matter because regardless of anything else though, is the fact that my white Wii still works pretty dang well. Especially noticeable after that, you know, despicable crashes here and there. So that's probably because of the forms about the fact that unlike the first game that it runs flawlessly, whilst in here that it does have some technical problems, such as for instance like desync music every time when you finish the track and then hit back to the main menu sometimes. And also on top of that, some occasional game crashes, so I can imagine about the fact that if you're trying to play, you know, Mario Kart Arcade GP DX on the Wii, that'll have multiple crashes, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, unlike the first game and the second game, that it runs very well on the Wii, I can imagine how the fact that it will seem to able to have a lot of struggling trying to run the, well, Mario Kart Arcade GP DX, because it was not meant to be on the Wii console, because obviously the Mario Kart Arcade GP DX is more likely like a high-definition version of Mario Kart Arcade GP 1 and 2, but with the forms of certain characters being replaced, or in some cases with like new characters they're actually involved in, so... But anyway, let's just hope if my game doesn't crash again during the course of the final lap of this particular racetrack. So because of that though, if it does then, oh jeez, that will take me a lot of edits to do for the sake of likely like trying to run a little bit better or something like that. I have no idea, but anyway. So we'll just keep a hold of the black shell for now, just in case of how the fact that, well, I don't think anyone else is right in front of me at the moment, so yeah, I think for the majority of the opponents are usually behind me so far, so... Anyways, let's do a bit of a drift, and don't crash, don't crash. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank goodness that we've now actually proceeded. Because unlike the other 2 attempts, though, that, jeez, my game crashed, so... Anyway, so now we've accomplished that, and soon enough we're able to get ourselves our next cup, which is of course the Bowser Cup. So yeah, 7 cups down and only 1 more to go, which is of course the Rainbow Cup. But before we do that, we have a challenge time to do. So yeah, final battle with Bowser. Leap the flames and destroy the poles at 4 times with missiles. Now here's the catch to this though, since I'm playing as Bowser on this challenge. Look at that, we actually fight it against with Mecha Bowser instead of, well, Doppelganger Bowser. So yeah, that's actually a pretty interesting choice, or an interesting twist right there. Especially noticeable, like I mentioned this earlier, ever since in Mario Kart Arcade GP 1 Let's Play, that if you manage to use Bowser the whole way through, up to this point, you actually fight against with Mecha Bowser instead of Bowser. Whilst if you play as someone else though, like Momenchi or Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Man or anyone else for that matter, you always have to fight against with Bowser. So, but ultimately speaking though, is the fact that, oh, I just realized something, this challenge game might actually be a little bit harder than the forms of how it does on the first game. I think the only reason being is that you have less time compared to the forms of the usual 35 seconds, unlike the first game, so something's worth classified for noticing this. But there we go, folks. That pretty much concludes the Bowser Cup. So, yeah, not doing too bad, actually. Despite my game occasionally crashes every now and then, which thankfully I did manage to did this off screen, because obviously that I just hate the fact that I have to start all over again for the sake of likely for progression's sake. So that should able to lead us to 1080. Interesting. And that's we get ourselves our next item for only for Bowser, which is like a chili pepper. Oh. That's an odd item choice, but at least that's something, I suppose. So anyways, we'll select yes here. And suffice to say, I think we should probably end things off here. So join me tomorrow for more of Let's Play of Mario Kart Arcade GP2. It will be the finale portion of the game, and that is to take on the Rainbow Cup. So I'll see you guys until tomorrow. Later, fellas. Oh man, I'm so excited for this one.